All right, what's up, everybody? Coming to you live from the back of the van. Really wanted to try to find a better spot to set up and do a little live FAQ and schedule it and everything, but unfortunately, when you're on the road, things are kind of never really scheduled or planned, or you just kind of go with things. And I don't really know what today is going to hold after not much longer, so I figured I'd go ahead and get this done while I had a chance. Wait for some people to come in. We got 2 people. What's going on? What's going on, guys? How's your Friday going? Give me a second. I got to grab a drink. All right. What's up, Mike? What's up, Mike? We got the double mic show. What's going on, guys? What's up, Andy? So I figured to go ahead and give this video a name and a topic right off the bat, because I figured that pretty much every question you guys are going to have for me today was going to be on the new Iconic 5150 demos that finally released. We got the official EVH yesterday, and then we got Fluff's video today. I'm still waiting for some more videos to pop up. I'm not sure who else had access to the amp at this point, but what's up, Matt? Andy? How you guys doing? Chilling in Venice Beach? That sounds much better than Cincinnati, where it's cold and gross out right now. We have a show tonight. Barry. All good, man. All good. Not a problem. Apparently, apparently this show got changed on us, and I had no idea. It went from us playing a small headlining show to now we're part of a huge 3-day festival that has like 2 different stages or something. So I'm not sure when that happened, but I found out today. Chilling in Minnesota is probably way colder. What's up, Scott? My Iconic will be to me on Wednesday. It shipped from Texas yesterday. I'm kind of hoping it gets there a little earlier than Wednesday, but I will have mine on Wednesday. So, oh no. I just opened this Monster and it was like flat right off the bat. Ooh. I don't drink these things very often. But anyways, yeah. I will have my EVH Iconic on Wednesday. And no, it's not made in America. No. You think a $900 tube amp is going to be made in America? You're wishing. Yeah, man. 5150 combo. As soon as we get back from the road, we'll figure it out. It's been tough for me to... I got a lot of stuff that I got to do when I get back into town, so we'll figure it out, though. We'll make one of those days work for sure. Yeah, I know, right? And maybe if it were 1989, we could still be doing that, but... Yeah, dude, the Dunnable is dope. The Dunnable is really cool. I had no plans of buying a brand new guitar. In fact, I shouldn't have bought it. So I'm going to sell some stuff in its place. But yeah, we were at Chicago Music Exchange 2 days ago. Walked in, was looking at some cool stuff. I actually got to play some Heritage guitars, which I've been wanting to play some Heritage guitars for a long time, being a big Les Paul guy. If you guys aren't familiar with Heritage, they are some of the old Gibson employees that, at least they were when they started. I mean, this is probably almost 30 years that they've been a company. But anyways, they worked out of the old Gibson factory in Kalamazoo, Michigan after that shut down, and basically made, Heritage guitars. They made a lot of older style Gibson guitars. So anyways, I'm going on about Heritage a lot, but their guitars have always had a great reputation, and honestly, $2,500 for a good style Les Paul standard, no weight relief at all. It was heavy as hell. I would really like to get my hands on one of those at some point. But anyways, yeah, I ended up with the RD. How to make a pedal chain the right way and reach this guy. Sure. I mean, I don't really do much with pedal chains, man. I've usually got a tuner and a noise gate and an overdrive, and that's it. So I don't do much. I'm probably not going to be able to show you anything that's really going to help you all that much, but Yeah, I mean, dude, we're having a really, really good time, Mike. We're having a lot of fun. I'm I miss home, but I don't. I'm having such a good time that I miss my girlfriend, miss my dogs, but otherwise, like, I've always loved being on the road. I really have. It's been one of my favorite parts about being in bands is touring. So, and with Bushido Code, this is our first run that's more than like 2 or 3 days, and this band just gets along really well. We're all on the same page. We have a lot of fun every night. We have a lot of fun. So, really looking forward to doing some more stuff next year already. We got 3 shows, and I already feel like the tour's over. But yeah, it's been a good time. I feel like shit because I've been eating like crap, but otherwise not bad. Yeah, yeah. So the Dunnable, it's a D2RE is the model number, and it's basically no, I didn't do Europe with Bushido Code, man. Bushido Code. This is our first tour as a band. I did Europe with my other band Represent. But what was I gonna say? Oh, the Dunnable. Yeah, it's really cool. Stock pickups sound great. I used it for the first half of our set in Detroit, but because it doesn't have strap locks, my strap fell off because I was getting a little too wild with it. And where the button is placed on the upper part of the guitar near the neck, it I could tell it was going to keep falling off if I did anything other than stand completely still, and I don't want to do that when I play live. So I went ahead and put that one away and grabbed the Balaguer back out, and I'm just going to use the Balaguer for the rest of the tour because the Balaguer is such an awesome guitar. Like every time I play it, every time I pull it out of the case and strap it on, it's in tune, it's ready to rip. So I've not broken any more strings yet. No, no. Luckily, knock on wood. I put a whole new set on after that Keystone set where I broke a string, and we've been solid ever since. So we'll see. I almost feel like I should restring after this show tonight because that'll be 3 shows. Do the last 2 with totally fresh strings and hopefully be ready to go. Oh, you're gonna have to excuse me. We went to this place called Scramblers in Cincinnati for breakfast, and they had bottomless waffles. So I got a skillet and I got bottomless waffles, and everybody just sat around and watched me eat waffle after waffle by myself. So travel's been good. Drives are short, man. That's the nice thing about the Midwest and the East Coast. As long as you stay on this side of the country, things are close. Like we did Indianapolis yesterday, we're doing Cincinnati today, and that was only like an hour and 45-minute drive. So they're pretty close. We're gonna drive to Detroit tomorrow. That's 4 hours. It's really not a bad drive. Our longest drive was to Chicago from Erie, which was like 7. No, I have done 0 sit-ups because I would throw up in every direction if I did sit-ups right now. So that's not gonna happen for a while. But yeah, tour's been great. We've been selling lots of merch. We've been getting more than our guarantees because a good amount of people have been showing up. It's not really something that ever happens. So I feel like good things are going for this band for sure. It's been a lot of fun. I think it's kind of breathed some new life into the band too because we have been doing so well out here on tour that we're kind of realizing like, okay, maybe we need to put a little bit more effort into it. We've already been talking about writing. I mean, we've got a few new songs written already. I came up with like literally 2 riffs on this tour already, just kind of jamming in the green room before we go on stage that I recorded and the band's into. Derek always has a ton of riffs. He's the primary riff writer. I'm the complimentary riff writer and the song arranger. So yeah, when him and I get together and we've got a couple things, it doesn't take much for us to really get some songs going. And I just feel like being out here and looking forward to playing every night and talking to people and just getting good reactions has really kind of reinvigorated us. So yeah, be on the lookout for some new Bushido Code stuff for early next year. I think we're going to try to push some stuff and get it out by the end of the first half of the year. I don't know what the name of the festival is, man. It's not anything you've ever heard of. It's definitely small time, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm always excited to play. It's always a good time no matter what. What I like is nobody woo! Nobody has nobody has really known what to expect of us, and I can tell that by the type of bands that are playing with us. For the most part, we're kind of just playing with regular hardcore bands, and like as soon as we get on, you can tell like the whole tone of the show shifts. As soon as we start playing, people are just like, "All right, this is not what I expected." And then by the end of the set, the whole crowd's going nuts. So it's really cool to kind of like slowly win a crowd over as you're playing. It's really neat. Um, what's up, Barry? Hey, dude. Is there more, or is that it? Yeah, Derek. I actually sold Derek that E2. That was mine. And he brought it on tour because I don't know why. I think he just wanted to play something a little different. So yeah, I can't remember if he's played it for a show yet or not. Hey, David. I did this from the road. So if you click on my video before this and go into the description, the Jet City video, it should be at the very top of the description of the video. Oh, hey man, how you doing? What you thinking about? How's it going? But yeah, so yeah, of course, man. I want to try to get a really good like multicam live video of the last two songs of our set before the tour is over. Um, I man, I really wanted to do a vlog or a vlog style episode. I'm just not good at it. I'm just not good at it. I don't like filming everything I do. I like to live in the moment. I know that sounds corny, but it's true. I really like to live in the moment and try to take in what's happening and not being focused on getting good shots and what do I need to film and everything else. So, hey, I'm all right with that, David. Thank you very much, my man. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you as always. David from Legendary Tones, everybody. What's up, Eric? But yeah, the vlog thing just isn't for me. I'm just not good at it, guys. I'm gonna try to. I'm thinking now that I'll take some of the footage that I've filmed of the venues and some of our live stuff and just do like a tour review and basically just talk about everything that we did, how the shows were, give you some shots of the venues, give you guys some live shots, and kind of let everybody know how it went, because a lot of people did ask me, and I'll try to get as much of the like backstage footage and all that stuff that you guys asked for as I can. But yeah, I'm just not good at the vlog thing, so I'll try to figure out how to make it work. Even though you hated my Randall Diablo, I still love your channel. Yeah, sorry, man. Diablo just isn't my jam, man. It's not a bad amp. It's just not for me. Funniest shit I've seen on the road so far. Pretty much anything Derek has said. We literally have been like laughing the entire tour of just saying the most ridiculous stuff, and like Derek and I are on the same wavelength where we're just really off the wall type of guys, so we've kind of been feeding off each other and just like getting more and more ridiculous. I'm pretty sure the rest of the band wants to punch us specifically, but yeah. I don't know. That's about the funniest thing I've seen, I guess. Barry, your Iconic comes in Tuesday. Awesome, man. Awesome. Got to send me some clips when you get yours, because you'll get yours a day before mine. Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. Yeah, everybody hit the like button if you would, please. It always helps me out. The reason that YouTubers always ask you that, guys, is because when you hit the like button, it signals the YouTube algorithm to start suggesting the video to more people. So that's why when we beg you guys for likes, it sucks. I hate to do it. It feels corny, but at the same time, like, that's really what makes a huge difference in people actually seeing the videos in their feed and giving them the notification and giving them the ability to click on them. So that's why we ask you guys that, just so you know. There are things that come along with this YouTube thing that aren't the greatest, but it is what it is. So just figured I'd give you guys a quick explanation of why that stuff matters. Thanks, man. I'm glad you appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys appreciating it. Is that like double jeopardy? There has been at least one person every night that has recognized me from the channel. So that, to me, that's kind of crazy, because I still view my channel as very, very small. But at least one person a night has come up to me and been like, hey, I love your YouTube channel, or hey, you're that guy on YouTube. So it's cool to know that it has a bigger reach than I really think it does in the grand scheme of things. So, all right, see you, Andy. I'll definitely let them know for sure. am I able to plug it on the road? No, I don't want to shove my channel in people's face. Is I already feel goofy enough talking about it sometimes, so I just kind of let the channel do its thing, and then if people want to talk to me about it, great, that's awesome. I'm more than happy to. I know I kind of have encouraged people on my channel to come out and hang out with me at shows and talk gear, and a couple of you guys have, and that's awesome. I really enjoy that. But otherwise, just gonna live the band life, and the band will do the band thing, and I'll do my YouTube thing, and it just so happens that they kind of happen to coexist and benefit each other. But I haven't really put too much thought into that up to this point, so it is what it is, I guess. What's the first amp I ever gigged with? What do you consider a first gig? Because I definitely played some shows in the basement of my friend's house in 8th grade when we were like a No Effects and Anti-Flag cover band. And we played without a drummer too, so if that tells you anything. The first amp that I ever played a gig with. Yeah, man. I love playing live. That's why I do music, is to be able to play live and travel. I mean, you guys know I'm not the greatest guitarist. I've never tried to be the greatest guitarist. I've always just wanted to be good enough to play the type of stuff that I want to play and be able to take it on the road, and that's essentially what I've done. So, um, yeah, yeah. So to be able to still come out and play shows at 33 and travel and have people be into my band, and be people excited to talk about music and everything every night is something I really look forward to, something I'm really grateful for. Um, first amp that I ever played at the first venue, the first tube amp I owned, because I borrowed all the amps that I played through up until I bought my first tube amp in 2010, which was the Madison Divinity. All the other amps that I played were borrowed. I borrowed a 6505 from somebody before. Um, and before that, it probably would have just been terrible solid state amps. I didn't really play. I played guitar a lot when I was younger, and then, like I've told you guys before, I broke my hands a bunch of times, and I ended up playing drums. So I played drums from the age of 16 to 21. So there's a 5-year gap where I didn't play guitar at all. And then when I got back into it, that's when I started to get really into gear and everything. And that's when I bought the Madison. And then shortly after that, I got the 6505. So, um, Crank Chadwick in the past. I had the original Crank Chadwick. I did not like it at all. Not even a little bit. Like, there's nothing that I liked about that amp. It was fat and bloated, and not. It was really crunchy type of gain structure. Like, everybody said that they were supposed to be like a modded Marshall type deal. I didn't get that vibe from it at all. I just thought it was a bad sounding amp, to be 100% honest. You guys know I usually try to find the redeeming qualities of any amp that I play or demo on the channel, and that one, when I owned it, there was not much that I could find about it that I liked. So my buddy Jesse really likes the 2-channel one, but I haven't played it. So I think it's starting to rain. I was like, what the hell is that noise? So yeah, I haven't played the 2-channel one. I've only played the original. Did not like it at all. MI Audio amp? No. I don't expect anything from them. No disrespect to MI Audio or Cliff or Michael. Cliff reached out to me and asked me if I'd want to try some stuff, and I said absolutely. I had tried to order an amp off of Michael back in December of last year, and when it took me 3 weeks just to get an invoice, sorry man, that's not gonna work for me. I'm not parting with my money for something that I have no idea when I'm gonna get. So again, this is no disrespect to him. I know he's a busy dude. He's got a full-time job. I hear nothing but great things about his amps, but it just wasn't a situation where I felt comfortable waiting. And I know a lot of people are still waiting for orders that they placed a long time ago. So with that being said, if I can get my hands on one in any way, MI Audio is supposed to send me one to check out. I'd be more than happy to do a demo and a review for you guys, because I hear nothing but good things about the tone of those amps. But I'm I'm not going to put my own money on the line unless I find a used one for, a price that I can resell it without losing any money on. So that's where we stand on MI Audio. I hope that you get yours soon. I know that they generally carry a pretty long wait time, but at least with like Omega, up front that you're going to wait a while, but they're at least transparent in their times and their wait times. So yeah, yeah, that's that. I can't believe more of you guys aren't asking questions about the Iconic. I thought that would be the hot topic. Apparently, you guys got all you need to know out of those demos. I've already, I've already seen some cringeworthy posts and videos of people tearing an amp apart based on a couple of videos, and they've never played the amp. They've never been in the same room as the amp. The demos, I mean, the EVH demo is pretty underwhelming, but Fluff's demo sounded good to me. So they're literally saying things like it doesn't have enough bass, it has too much treble, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how do you know that? You don't know that. You don't know that. You've never played the amp. You've never been in the same room as the amp. I just don't understand how people feel comfortable making claims like that. Like somebody was saying, like, oh, it definitely doesn't chug. It's not made to chug. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you know? You haven't played one. Some of these guys make me want to grind my teeth into dust when I listen to them talk. They just form their opinions based off of YouTube demos. And I've made a whole video where I said, do YouTube demos matter? Because in the end, the only person's ears that you should trust on these things are your own. And I know that I'm a guy who makes YouTube demos for basically for a living at this point, but I always try to pound that point home that you can't trust anybody's ears but your own. So I'm sorry, David. I just saw that you're talking while I'm ranting here. There's a little arrow in the description, David. I would shoot you a message, but I'm doing this on my phone. So right near the title of the video, when you click on the video, there's a little arrow off to the right-hand side, and you should be able to click that, and it'll drop the description down in the video. And it's like the Sweetwater Cyber Monday is the link that I've been using recently. So let me know if you can't find it. Shoot me a message. I'll get you sorted, man. I appreciate it very much. Right now, where I took the audio from the EVH Iconic demo and re-EQ'd it in Pro Tools. Okay. Great video and audio quality on the live stream. Thanks. That's cool. Yeah. I'm using a new phone, so I'm glad it sounds good, looks good. Waiting on your rev. Now you're out of money. Yeah, it sounds like you got something to look forward to though, man. Those rev amps are really, really good. They're very good. They mic'd the amp too close to the center of the dust cap and didn't EQ out the fizz, plain and simple. Okay. What do you think of the Iconic? I don't know. I haven't played it yet, so I really don't know. I am not going to be the guy who says it sounds too much like this and too much like that, because I haven't played the amp. And demos can kind of give you an idea. They can get you in the wheelhouse of what it's going to be like, but there is nothing like sitting down, plugging in to an amp and a speaker cab, and figuring the thing out for yourself before you form any sort of opinions and blast them all out over the internet. So keep that in mind. I will not give you an opinion until that amp has been unboxed, placed atop one of my 4x12 cabs, and I have played on it for at least a half an hour to an hour. So that's how it's going to go down for me. I'm not going to give you guys any bullshit opinions. Yeah, dude, Fluff did a great job on that video. That was actually, I think that's one of my favorite amp reviews that he's done. He did a really nice in-depth dive, and he did a good job with it. I thought he made it sound good. It sounded cool to me. Everybody has their own way of dialing things in too. So you got to remember that. Like when everybody says Ola makes everything sound the same, everybody says I make everything sound the same. And, we have a particular sound in our ear that we like, that we aim for when we're EQing an amp. And, the way that we play has a big part of that. When they say tone is in the fingers, they don't literally mean like, that your fingers sound different. It's the way you play. It's the way you hit notes. It's the way you attack the strings with your right hand. I know Glenn Fricker did a video on how changing the guitar or the guitarist, the tone is in the fingers is kind of like bullshit. I don't agree with that video at all, because if I hand my guitar over to Derek, I play a riff, I hand it over to him, he plays the same riff, it does not sound the same. It doesn't, and it's because of the way that we play. So, um, yeah, I totally agree with that, man. It's not that your fingers sound different, it's the way that you play, it's your technique, it's how you fret the notes, it's how you attack them with the pick and everything. There's so much more to it that people just don't ever really give it credit for. And that's why, when everybody chases Eddie's tone and they can never get there, it's like, well, you don't have his hands. You can't play like he plays. You don't have the same style. There are very few people who can pull it off. So, um, all right, what else did I miss during my rants here? You like the Iconics, okay? Thing with the Iconic, it sounds fine. It's affordable. Fluff makes all amps sound good. Yeah, exactly. Got to demo the boost functionality. There's some input boost added when the boost is engaged. Okay. Absolutely will. I'll be doing a pretty deep dive myself when mine finally comes in. Have not tried the JP2C, unfortunately. Although Neural just released a John Petrucci Archetype plugin, which sounds really good. I think it sounds good. Iconic has a nice clean channel. It certainly seems better than the PV ones from what I saw from Fluff's demo. He did a little bit on the clean channel. It sounded okay. Was that young him would be buying it? Most of us beyond entry level. Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's where that's aimed, man. That's where it's aimed. $900 for a tube amp. I mean, obviously it's not 100% tube. There's some solid state witchcraft going on in the preamp of it, but overall, right now at this price point, you're probably going to be hard pressed to find an amp that has tubes in it at all that's 80 to 100 watts in that price range. So, I think there's just so much polarization with the amp. It's been so debated, and I think a big part of that is EVH's fault. I think that EVH should have been more forthcoming with it and the design differences and who it was marketed towards. You know what I mean? They've pretty much been radio silent on the thing since they announced it. And in my opinion, that's kind of what has created all this, because they've left us all to speculate. And when people like guitarists speculate, musicians are notoriously stupid, myself included. You're going to get some really dumb opinions, and unfortunately people are going to hear those opinions and they're going to parrot them because they can't think for themselves whatsoever, and you just end up in this situation that we have now where all of a sudden an amp that people should be thankful for an affordable budget amp that James Brown designed with Eddie Van Halen. The design process was started when Eddie was alive. He knew about it. He was into it. That's something that, had Eddie still been around and probably been able to dispel the myths and maybe speak to the public a little bit more about, maybe we'd have a different opinion of it too. We might not be saying the same things that we're saying right now, but I have been nothing but excited since it came out. I looked at it with a healthy dose of skepticism. It's got the 2 preamp tubes. What did they do in the preamp to make up for those 2 preamp tubes? And how ultimately is it going to sound in the end, knowing that it's not an all-tube circuit? Like I said in my previous videos, I don't care what's inside the amp. All I care is what comes out of the speakers. So if what's coming out of the speakers sounds good and the amp is reliable, that's all I care about. So 2 preamp tubes means absolutely nothing to me if the amp sounds great. It means nothing to me at all. So that's my take on that. High voltage preamps are okay with me. Ola just posted a video today of the Petrucci. Yeah, I was watching Ola's video this morning. It sounded very good. I would check that out if you guys haven't yet, if you're into the plug-in thing. People are scared of new technology. Solid state scares so many people, but the tech is there now. The orange CR120 is crazy. I've heard great things about that amp. I've heard someone else play it in person and thought it sounded great, so I've got to agree there. Would have been one of the last guesses I had for a Neural plug-in partnership. Okay. I honestly didn't hear any rumblings of it, so it surprised me when it was announced this morning, but makes sense. He's one of the most popular guitarists, especially in the gear space. So, It's my first tube amp ever, and I have been playing for over 30 years. Yeah, the DSL-20HR is great, man. You made a great choice. I really enjoyed that amp very much. But can I buy me a hat that doesn't look like I found it playing Fallout? I don't know what that means. Can't wait to play through the Iconic. Guitar nerds listen with their eyes. Dude, 100%. 100% they do. It's the worst. It really is. Do I think it will compete in volume with OG 5150s? In your experience, you need 100-watt amps with local hardcore shows. If, no offense, man, if most 50-watt amps aren't working for you in local shows, then the venue that you're playing in has terrible sound, or you guys are playing way too loud. I've used the 50-watt EVH for more shows than I can count, and it's never had any problems keeping up. Yeah. The only 50-watt amp that I've ever had, and I've said this a couple times, that fell apart at higher volumes, it's not that it didn't get loud enough. It got loud enough, but it started to kind of sound farty and everything, was the Mesa single rectifier. But yeah, I've been telling people pretty much since the beginning of my channel that 50 watts is more than enough unless you're playing way too loud. Yeah. Neither do I, man. Neither do I. Again, I'm not going to sit here. I've never heard your band. I don't know. I'm not going to say you're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying that I've played a lot of unmiked gigs with 50-watt amps too, and my bands play loud, and I've never had any problems with 50 watts not being enough. But do I think it'll be as loud as the original 5150s? I don't know. I know that it won't have the same amount of headroom. Where the headroom will run out on this amp, I don't know. Never heard of an 80-watt four tube power amp section. I think it's a little goofy. So I'll definitely push it and see if it really starts to compress a lot earlier than like a regular 100 or 120 watt amp. But the original PV5150s had over-spec'd transformers. They were actually the transformers out of the 160 watt Roadmaster. So the reason that they did that is because the Soldano transformers were extremely over-spec'd, and that was to allow as much clean headroom from the amp as possible. You will hear the tubes compressed long before you'll ever hear the power amp start to fart out or anything like that, or the tube, or the transformer starting to saturate and everything. Yeah, there's not much of a volume difference between 150 watts. It's more of a headroom thing for sure. Amps start to compress, they start to sound squishy, and the highs and lows start to get rounded off and everything when you start to play them too loud, when they hit their headroom limit. So not a huge volume difference. Some amps are just inherently louder and are cut inherently better. The Splons that Derek and I are playing are obnoxiously loud. The Sound Girl, they just did, there was a girl at the venue last night who did sound for us, and she was telling us how Death Angel just came through not that long ago. But the first thing she said to us when we got done playing was, "You guys are loud." So I don't think she meant it as a compliment, but I looked right at her and I was like, "Oh, thanks. We take that as a compliment." And she didn't really say anything. So I think she was basically saying, "You guys are too loud." But I talked to a bunch of people in the crowd. I was like, "Hey, how was it? Was it too loud?" And they were like, "No, the mix was perfect. It was just the vocals were a little low, but everything else was good." So, where are we at? I'm getting lots of questions now. Hit that like button for me if you haven't yet, guys. I would really appreciate it. Synergy stuff is great. I need to do some more stuff with that. One of my Patreons lent me the Uberschall and the Ultra Lead, the VHT Ultra Lead modules, and I haven't really done much with them. I got to do some more stuff with the Synergy stuff soon, but I really like those. They don't sound exactly like the amps that they're built after, but they sound similar. Still 50 watt. All of the 50 watt 5150 amps do great at bedroom volumes. I think that's one of their greatest attributes is they sound great at lower volumes. I'm putting together a rig rundown, Derek. I literally filmed it before we left. I had every intention of editing it and posting it before we left, but unfortunately, uh, I just didn't have the time to do it. I'm always a little bit optimistic with my time, where I think I'm gonna be able to get way more done than I actually can, and then I take on too much and I start getting overwhelmed. So that's one of my things that I got to work on for this year. But anyways, yeah, I have the audio done for the rig rundown, so I just need to start to edit the video together. I probably should do that today, honestly. That's probably a good project for today. Thank you guys for hitting the like button, by the way. That just went up by like 11 likes, so appreciate you all. David figured it out. The arrow for Sweetwater link is not on my computer web browser, but it is on my phone. Okay, interesting. Sorry for the confusion, man, but thanks for working it out. I appreciate it. As always, David is the man, one of the nicest people in the business. People going nuts over the EVH Iconic and the solid state tech in it. I'm sure I'll use OD pedals and need it for the tone. Yeah, we'll see. You may not. I don't know. I'm going to try it with an overdrive. I'd try everything with an overdrive, whether I think it needs it or not, just to see if it enhances the tone. Most amps it does. If it doesn't, then I don't use it. And there's only a couple amps that have been like that for me. But, yeah, I see what you're saying. Just got a Soldano SL30. Not impressed for 2800. There are really rare parts in there that justify the price. Not rare parts, just expensive parts. It's built in the USA, hand built. Very strong quality control. You know, I've mentioned a few times that when you buy a boutique USA built amplifier, especially if you're buying it out of California, if the company's based in California, you pay premiums just for that company being based in California, because it costs a lot to run a business out there. So there are things like that that you have to keep in mind. I was just having this conversation. The dude that we're staying with right now, his name is Rich. He has been in a bunch of hardcore bands over the years, and we were talking about how both of us love 5150s, and it's funny because we've both had all sorts of crazy amps and everything. I've had pretty much all the flagship Friedmans, a bunch of Dietzels, some Engels, what other, any other expensive Bogners, highly sought after guitar brands out there. And you know what? Most days of the week, I'm going to pick a 5150 over any of them. And it's just because they sound really good. They are easy to dial in and they sit in the mix properly. There's just not much more you can ask for out of an amp than that. And when you start getting into these boutique amplifiers, you're paying 300% premium for an amp that sounds, I won't even say 5% better. It just sounds different. It just sounds different. It's better is always going to be completely subjective, guys. And amps that have become industry standards over the years have become industry standards for a reason. It's because they were the best option at their time. And if it's still an industry standard 30 years after it was released, that means that it's still one of the best options in their category at any price point. So you got to keep that in mind. A lot of people think that if they pay big bucks for an amp, that their tone is going to blow everything else away, and that's not the reality of it. The law of diminishing returns very much applies to guitar gear. So it is it's cool to own that stuff. I love being able to say I own a Soldano and a Friedman. I think it's really cool as a guitar nerd. I enjoy supporting US brands and the smaller brands and smaller builders, but every time I buy an expensive amp, am I expecting it to be the best tone ever? No, because I've kind of learned my lesson that it's just another take on, a very similar thing. Drinking my drink backwards here. Christopher says, I only have a 100 watt head because of features. I have the Blackstar HT 100 Mark II. The 50 watt, as you experience, lacks the presence and resonance knobs that the amp needs. The 100 watt has them. That's good to know. I didn't know that the 100 watt had those, so sounds like I need to try the 100 watt. Justin Fields, what comes out of the speakers is all that matters. I really wish these vendors would get out of their comfort zone and experiment away from the usual Chinese Celestion V30. yes, what comes out of the speakers is all that matters. And again, the V30 is an industry standard for a reason. Um, it's just a good sounding speaker, and people know how it's going to sound. They know what they're getting. So I understand why all these companies do it. Um, you gotta also think that we vote with our pocketbooks. So you can stick a bunch of R&D into creating your own speaker, or trying out a whole bunch of different speakers from other companies like Eminence or Ted Weber or something like that. But in the end, a lot of people may not buy those cabs because it doesn't have a Celestion in it. That's just the reality of things. So I think uh, I think a good middle ground would be to offer a standard cabinet that you can send to distributors like Sweetwater. But if you order direct through the company, you get the option of choosing different speakers if you like. I know Rev does that. They have a couple standard cabs that they send to like Sweetwater. But if you were to order a cab directly from Rev, they give you a couple different speaker choices, and you can kind of spec things out how you want it. And I just think that that's the smartest way to go about it if you're a bigger company, in my opinion. So. All right. Things are, you're probably right. The only 50-watt heads I've tried was an old Softtech and a solid state Marshall. Completely different than the other stuff. Could have just been not liking the tone. Yeah, man, that very well could have been it. And that's why I said I wasn't trying to say that you're doing something wrong or anything like that. I just know that a good 50-watt tube amp has never not been enough for me. And I like to play loud. I always, everybody that I play drums with, every band that I've ever played drums with, I always tell the drummers, like, you better hit those drums like you mean it, or else you're gonna drown in the mix. And I'm not gonna have that, man. I want my bands to sound loud and powerful when I play live. I don't want things to sound wimpy. I want that music to hit you, and I want every instrument to be heard. And that's what I always go for. And luckily this band, delivers. And most of my other bands, I don't really have to adjust the way that I play to meet their lower levels of volume, if that makes any sense. So yeah. The reason you play 100 watt stuff over the 50 is the difference in low end between the two. Okay. I haven't noticed a difference in low end between my 50 watt EL34 and 100 watt EL34, but maybe that's just me. The 50 watt has more than I need, and so does the 100. So I don't know. And again, this is not directly at you, Travis. One thing that I've noticed, especially on this tour, a lot of bands that are playing are dialing in really bass heavy and kind of scoopy guitar tones. And as soon as their band starts playing, it's mud. And it sounds cool when you're on your own. It sounds big and thick and powerful. But as soon as your band's mix kicks in, all that goes away. And all you hear are all sorts of frequencies clashing. The guitars are not coming through the mix whatsoever. Um, so yeah, we literally, when we played in Albany, a couple of the bands that played before us, and again, I don't want to diss any of these bands because I personally didn't listen to a few of the bands in Albany. We were actually meeting up with our record label guy there. He brought us dinner, brought us some of our royalties, and we were just kind of chatting and hanging out in the back room up until we played. And people told us after we played that it sounded like from every band up until we played that um, it was like a speaker was lifted off the entire sound system when we got on the stage, because everything was just so clear and bright, and our levels were good and everything else. And everything just sounded much more balanced and natural. And that the first couple bands, when they were setting up, they were setting up those bass heavy tones, man. And you're a guitarist. You're not meant to fill out the low end frequencies. I understand. When I play by myself, I like to pump the bass up for sure and maybe pull the mids back a little bit, but I know that that is the tone that I'm going to use when I'm playing by myself. That is not the tone that I'm going to use when my band goes up and sets up live. I'm going to start setting it up, tweaking it. Derek will start setting up tweaking his. I'll step out in front and we'll both play together. And if I notice any pokey frequencies from either of us, I'll point it out and we'll adjust our settings to make sure that we're balanced. And then Sean's bass always is dialed in exactly the same. So like we know what to expect from his bass. And we base our tones off each other. And as soon as we do our first sound check, we make any tweaks that we need to make sure that everything is balanced. And that's just what you got to do. You got to make sure that your tones aren't You're not trying to fill the super high and low end frequencies as a guitarist. You should be filling out the mid frequencies. What do I think of crank amps? They are cool. Um, Played a Rev, the original Rev. I liked it, but that was 11 years ago, and it blew up on me 2 days after I got. Ooh, I'm still struggling with this breakfast, guys. I apologize. I don't usually eat like this, so it's always been a little rough on me. I played the Crank Rev 1 Plus. I did a demo on it. Unfortunately, I screwed up the audio. I have to go back and do it again, but I think the amp sounds good. I think it's cool. Wouldn't be my first choice, but it's very usable, very mean sounding amp. I liked it. For whatever reason, no Uberschall, Sim, Patch, etc. ever really sounds like an Uber to you. Mike, I haven't really messed around with too many Uberschall Sims or Patches. Any that I don't really think I mess with any, so I can't speak to that. But that an OD is a solid state piece of tech, and that the preamp is using similar tech. Who was saying that? Did I miss something? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to keep up. I'm going off on these rants and I'm losing you. The Iconic is fully discrete and high voltage. Don't know of any pedals like that. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Sorry. EVH Stealth versus 5153 versus 6505 Plus. If I had to choose one, which would I go with? That's tough. I would say the 6505 Plus. Every time I plug into that amp, I'm just happy. The EVH Stealth, I really, really like the way it sounds. I really love the low-mid clarity. If I was going to use a 2-amp setup, the EVH Stealth would probably be my second amp, and my Spawn would be my first. But it's almost a little too scooped on its own. The 6505 Plus just has the mids that I like. It's tight. It's aggressive. It sounds like a 5150. 6505 Plus would probably be my choice. Have I tried the Blue Guitar Amp 1 Iridium? Not yet. Not yet. Monster Zero 5150. Okay, cool, man. If the V30 Mesa is a little too harsh for me, I think the Redback would be better. Well, the V30 Mesa is the same as every other V30. Mesa uses a different grill cloth that muffles some of the high end. So if that's too harsh for you, then yeah, you're going to want something different. I mean, the Redback sounds completely different from a V30, so it's not like it's a V30 voice speaker with a different EQ. It sounds completely different from a V30, so you may not like it. That's another thing, man. You got to try. It sucks to have to try speakers, but you really won't know until you try it for yourself. The Redback sounds kind of like a Greenback. It sounds more like a Greenback than anything else, but it's got a big, tight low end. Is there something like Zilla cabs in the USA? Avatar? Avatar is kind of similar. You make your own custom cabs. I think they've kind of stripped back their options recently, though. There's a few cool custom cab makers. You got Mojo Tone. You've got Sour Mash, make some cool like Marshall-style stuff. You've got Stone Age cabs, which I hear nothing but good things about Stone Age cabs. You've got Stagecraft, kind of similar deal. They make a couple different models. I think Avatar would probably be the most similar to Zilla, though. What's up, Greg? You guys rely on pedals, so it's hard to knock them. I have a great ear. Ever considered becoming an amp builder? You'd have a reputation no one else has out of the gate with fans from your channel. Few people have asked me that, man. No, I don't consider it just because I don't have the electrical knowledge. And man, that's a long game to play. That's a long game to play. And I have a lot of great resources that I could use to do it. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. As much as I love amps, I like other people designing them, and I like me playing them and telling you what I think of them more than I would ever like me trying to design my own amp. And I think it's because I'm a victim of the human condition where things sound different every day. You ever plug into an amp one day and it sounds amazing, and plug into the same amp with the same settings and the same guitar and it sounds terrible the next? I don't want to deal with that when if I'm trying to design an amp and test it. Even amps that I love, like there are days when I play it and I'm like, man, I love this amp so much. And then I play it again a month later and I'm like, what is wrong with this thing? Like, it doesn't sound right. I just feel like I would stress too much about the little things. And that's if I could even gather the knowledge to properly put together an amp circuit. So, you know, I also play 212 and play on my own. The mix I use wouldn't work and I redo it for my recording. Okay. So I like more bass in my jamming out. Yeah. That's it. At home, dialing some bass up, perfectly fine, man. In the mix, you gotta level it out a little bit. My live amp settings. I don't People always ask me about my settings, guys, and this is one thing that you need to remember. And I'm not trying to lecture you or dad you. um the settings are going to be different pretty much every night. I never play with the same settings every night, and that's because the way that the stage is positioned in the venue, what's on the walls in the venue, what the stage is made out of. The stage was hollow last night, so everything sounded bassier than normal. My settings from night to night to night are very different, and I know the tone that I'm trying to achieve when I'm up there, but some nights it takes very different settings from other nights. So I don't dial with my eyes, I dial with my ears. Guitarists really need to work on dialing with their ears and not saying, "Oh, well, 666, that's my EQ settings. Why doesn't it sound good?" Well, because the room that you dialed in 666 was a 24 by 24 square, and now you're playing through a long concrete hallway. So those same settings are not going to work. So keep that in mind. When I show you guys the rig rundown, though, you'll see generally where I would set the amp, but again, it's going to be different every night. So just keep that in mind. I wish there would be Sooth plugin as a guitar pedal. I don't know what that is. Sorry, bud. I don't know what that is. Jason, shows are going very well, man. Thank you for stopping in. Hope you're doing okay. Shows are going better than I expected, honestly. And every night's been a really good time. So having a great time out here. Am I going to post any more live footage? Yeah, like I said, I want to try to do a multicam where I've got like 4 or 5 different camera angles of the last 2 songs of our set, because those are my favorite 2 songs that we play. So I will either do that in Detroit or in Pittsburgh, but I will definitely get it done. I'm excited for the Creamback V30 blend and the Rev 212 you're getting. I have a 212 V30 cab, and it's great, but excited to see if it's a relevant difference. My live cab that I have on the road is an M65 Creamback and V30 mix and a Splon cab. And I can tell you it sounds really good. The M65 definitely levels out some of the spikiness of the V30s. So Jet City's launching a US cab program that offers speaker options. That's cool. That's good to know. I like that. Jet City doing it right there. Love Stone Age cabs. John made a head cabinet for me. Great guy and great quality. Yeah, I hear nothing but great things about Stone Age stuff. Top level quality when it comes to cabs and head cabs and speaker cabs. Mike, yes, people from other bands have recognized me from my channel. Nobody has asked me for my opinion on their sound. Usually as soon as they recognize me from the channel, they just start talking to me about the channel and stuff. So I think that's cool. But yeah, nobody has asked me for their opinion on their sound. Props that I'm tuned in, no pun intended, to the variables of changing venues regarding. Yeah, man, that's I think that's just one thing people take for granted. Everybody tells me, if I don't like an amp, here, try my settings. And it's like, man, if I get an amp, I go through all the settings that I possibly can if I don't like it, to try and get it to sound where I do like it. And I appreciate you guys wanting to help me and everything else, but my room is different. The way I play is different. The sound that I'm going for is different a lot of the times, and it will be with you too, which is why you guys like amps that I don't, and vice versa. I like amps that some of you guys don't, and that's fine. That's why we have choices. That's why this whole gear thing is so much fun, because we have so many different choices and everything. It's what really makes it interesting. If everybody's going for the same sound and the same tone, it wouldn't be interesting. It would be the early 2000s where every metalcore and hardcore band used a 5150 through a Mesa cab with an EC1000 guitar. So luckily that's not the case. If I could only have 5150 style distortion or rectifier style for the rest of my life, what would I choose? Easy question for me, man. 5150 all day. I'm coming around on rectifiers, but still 5150s are where it's at for me. How's my day going? Day's going good. Had a delicious breakfast. Got a lot of sleep last night. And now I'm just kind of hanging out, talking gear with you guys, so I can't complain. Just got a Fractal FM3 and having 4-cable method with my Stealth. I accidentally have it set to use the 100-watt EVH model and couldn't figure out what was up with my tone knobs. Oops. I still haven't even tried the 4-cable method. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's implemented in different ways, but I agree. Like, the people who complain about clipping on Marshall JCM 900s and then use an overdrive out in front of their amp, it's just like, whatever. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just being a little silly doo-doo head. It is getting that real. Yeah, you know what I really like is the capture function on the Quad Cortex. The built-in IRs and amp models are mostly underwhelming. A couple of them are really good, but like the SLO was bad. The VH4 was bad. But me capturing my own gear the way that I would dial it in and then using that's cool. That's cool. Especially through a tube power amp, man. That is where I can see modeling working for me. But then again, I did the Helix video, and I really enjoyed a lot of the tones that were coming out of the Helix through my tube power amp too. So I think you're right. I think that I think the modeling is almost there at this point. So it's the last time I got blown away by a new album guitar tone. For me, it would has to be Humanity's Last Breath, just for the insane pitch shifting. Last album that tone blew me away. I really liked the newest Testament album. If you guys listen to the tone on the newest Testament album, which one is it? The Brotherhood of the Snake, I think, was the last one. It came out right around the time that Bushido Code was recording our album, and I'm like, I want my tone to be similar to that. And that's kind of what I aimed for. So yeah, the tone on that last Testament album was unreal. The production on the whole thing was awesome. Petrucci plugin, awesome. Yeah, the Petrucci plugin seems to be getting good reviews. Ola's video sounded great, I thought. 4-cable method is where it's at. Yes. What noise gate do I use? Right now I'm using my Deadwell Duality DX pedal, which is the overdrive and noise gate in one. And that's what I'm using on tour. My pedal board is literally a Strobo Stomp tuner, and my Deadwell Duality DX, which takes care of both the overdrive and the gate. So I have an extremely simple pedal board setup, but when I'm not using the Duality DX, which isn't very often, if I'm trying to use a different overdrive, then I use the Deadwell Audio Golem. And the Golem is the best gate that I've used. Hands down, it's a 2-channel gate, and you can kind of switch over the channels to fine-tune it if you're using a lot of effects and stuff, or you can just make it a simple 1-knob gate, much like an ISP Decimator. To me, it can't be beat. The Rev G8 gate is also very good, but the Golem is my go-to. You heard bad things about the capture. Look forward to seeing it working. Yeah, I have no issues with the capture, man. I think it does a great job. I think it does a really good job. It tends to be a little bit brighter and a little bit less gainy than how you actually capture it. So as long as you kind of make up for that in the capture, you can dial it a little bit differently to, like, say you would dial it a little bit gainier and a little bit with a little bit less high end than you normally would, and then it would come out as you would play it if you were dialing it in the way that you wanted it to sound. So the EC1000 was iconic. Yeah, seriously, man, seriously. I've seen one on this tour, and it's like, dude, 10 years ago, I would have seen an EC1000 in every band when I was touring. So it's kind of lost some of that standard appeal, but they still get used. I have a couple of them myself. I love the EC1000. Couldn't tell the difference between the model and the amp feel-wise. Had more treble. Sat there minutes wondering why you're... That's awesome. Yeah, it's getting close, man. Definitely getting close. Yeah, the production on that Knuckle Puck album was super good. The drums sound huge. They sound huge, but they also sound very well defined too. So I agree with that. And the guitar tones on that album were really good. It was just a really well produced album. Recommend checking out Infrared Horizon by Artificial Brain. Raw 6505 tone. Okay. Infrared horizon. Leave a comment on this video and remind me. The Gathering. Huh. I can't think of that tone offhand, Jason. I'll have to go check it out. Listen to it a little bit. But Rev F rectifier and a TS9 and V30s and an EMG, it's pretty much standard fare, right? Do I get upset if someone says I look like Matt Damon? No, it doesn't bother me at all. Doesn't bother me one bit, man. You're good. It takes a lot to get under my skin. You know what gets under my skin is YouTubers passing judgment on amps that they've never played. That gets under my skin. But people calling me Matt Damon, it doesn't bother me at all. All right. Matt Damon now or Matt Damon 15 years. I would hope that you would mean 15 years ago, man. I hope I'm not aging that poorly. I'm 33. I'll be 34 in a month and a half. It's kind of crazy. Getting old. I'm not playing any Schecters on tour, man. No. I brought my Balaguer Typhon, and that's... yeah, I know. People tell me that I sound like him, too. It's really funny. I brought my Balaguer Typhon on tour and my ESP Eclipse. And I bought a Dunnable R2DE. R2DE at Chicago Music Exchange the other day. So I played that a little bit. But really, every night I have been playing my Balaguer Espada pretty much for the entire set. So that guitar, extremely rock solid. Extremely rock solid. As soon as I tune it, we're driving in the cold van, 20, 30 degree weather every night. We pull it in, do our sound check, and it's a tad bit sharp every night, but it's consistently sharp every night. And then once it warms up, it goes flat a little bit, and I'm good to go. That's it. I have to tune it once a set, and I'll check tuning in between songs here and there, but every now and then I'm just like, I know I don't need to check the tuning on this. This thing's ready to rip. So... have I heard the new Every Time I Die album? What do I think? No, man, I have never been a fan of Every Time I Die. I know that they're very popular. They've gained a lot of popularity over the years. They just never did it for me. I was never really into their style, so I haven't listened to it yet. Yeah, so I haven't checked it out. Sorry, man. Late 20s? Yeah, I'll take it. I'm not mad about it. Not bad about it. You got Brad Pitt. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna say that you're mad about, or they're mad about looking like Brad Pitt. You live in Arizona where it's usually warm. Recently we got a cold snap and now all my guitars suck. Yeah, that'll happen. The weather will definitely change them a lot more than I think people give them credit for. I'll check it out, Eric. I'll check it out. I don't think they suck. I don't think they're a bad band. They've just never been my thing. But I live an hour and a half outside of Buffalo, so they almost feel like a hometown band. I just never got into them. Yeah, same here, man. Every night for Bushido Code, I have to warm up for at least 15 minutes just to kind of like loosen. My wrist is what really slows down a lot for me. My right wrist. We have a lot of really fast rhythm stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, the cold is definitely not nice. But I got to warm up even if I'm warm. It takes me a while to get into playing shape. Ooh. Yeah, they go sharp every night. I expect it at this point, but I'm in a van. Not really much I can do about it. Sorry about the phone moving so much. I'm trying to get the chat to scroll, but YouTube's being dumb. Eric, I'm not going to talk about that just because. Warm water before playing. Yeah, I've done that before. Don't really have that option when I'm out on the road too much, unfortunately. But I've definitely done that. I've done that before. I've had to play videos at home, actually, when I'm really, like, if I do videos early in the morning where I've got to play, and my hands are cold, I will definitely get some warm water going, and just let my wrists sit under it for a while. Big fan of the Ultra Plus. What do I think is better, the Ultra Plus or the Triple X? I like the Triple X better. I think the mids are a little bit more natural on it. The mids on the Ultra Plus can get honky really, really quick. So they're a little bit more delicate to dial in. You have to be a little bit more careful. But otherwise, I like them both. But the Triple X is my thing. Any other questions before I get out of here, guys? I've been on for an hour. I was going to come out for 20 minutes, and my band's all probably sitting inside going, thinking, what am I doing? If you haven't yet, do me a favor, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. Hit that like button. Hit that like button so I can get people watching my stuff. By the way, it's been awesome that you guys have been very supportive on tour and everything. A lot of people still watching the videos, and it's been nice to not have to worry about doing content while I'm out on the road and just kind of have fun. I do have one quick announcement before I leave. And I'm very excited about it, actually. Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it, man. What do I use to clean ebony fretboards? Water and a microfiber cloth, and I just scrub away. That's what I use. All right, so yeah, before I go, quick announcement. PV is sending me the brand new 6505-2. It's the 6505-2 now, not the 6505 Plus anymore, of their 1992 original series. Who took their like back? Who does that? PV is sending me the brand new 6505-2, and I should have it early next week. I will actually be the very first person who gets to demo it, which is kind of blowing my mind a little bit if we're being completely honest. So, yeah, I will be the first person to bring you guys demos on the 6505-2, and I will be sure to give you my honest opinions, even though they're sending it to me. I told John at PV, I'm like, thank you for sending it. Just, you know, I got to be honest with everybody because I can't lose my integrity, and he said that's totally fine. I want your honesty. But yeah, so I'll be getting that and the 5150 Iconic pretty much at the exact same time. So I will be able to compare and contrast them for you guys. I will also be able to give you my honest thoughts on the 6505-2 and how it compares to some of the earlier PVs. So in the next like 3 weeks, you guys are going to see pretty much nothing but 5150s on my channel. So I hope that that's cool because I'm going to be comparing the 6505-2 and the Iconic to the older models and to the EVH models, just to kind of give you guys like an overall experience of how they compare. So, stay hydrated. Yes, I've got this health drink right here. How it goes? Yeah, they haven't changed it. They haven't changed the master volume taper, so I wouldn't expect anything different from that. That never bothered me, but again, I'm not really playing my 120 watt tube amps for low bedroom volumes at home. So if you are, get a volume pedal for your EQ, or for your effects loop, or get an EQ pedal for your effects loop that has a level and just turn it down. That's how you fix that if you're playing by yourself at home. Otherwise, it is what it is. But yeah, so that's it. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. I'm going to get out of here. Going to go hang with the band. I still need to shower today. Which it's what now? 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I'm going to go shower. And then, yeah, play a show. Have some fun. Hope you guys have a great Friday. Hit that like button on the way out. And I will talk to you guys very soon. I'll get some videos up as soon as I can, guys. Thanks again for hanging. It's been great. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Bye.